Welcome back to a new episode of Brewtifully Made. I am so honored and excited to bring you Christine Lindebak. She is the owner and entrepreneur of
Sewing in the city.
Sewing in the City. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining me. Christine, where are you joining me from?
Well, thank you, Tracy. I'm so excited to be here. So I am in Valencia, Spain.
That's what I thought.
So
Oh,
yeah, but I'm
wow.
I'm American. You can tell by my accent, but I've lived here for about 8 years.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
So honored to have you on the program. And if you had seen any of my social medias in the last month, you have seen where I shared Christine's work and her pattern making. So that is one of the things that we're going to dive into. I signed up for her newsletter and I received a pattern for free when I did that called the Manhattan. And it was this beautiful blouse or dress, so I had a fabric and I wanted to make it from that. Now you suggested a woven, but we'll get into all of that. And I made it out of cotton and I'm wearing it now.
Love
So before I
it.
go into any slideshow of her work, I want you to at least realize I am wearing this beautiful, these sleeves. Oh my goodness. Your pattern work is just phenomenal. So thank you for that. And so let's just dive in a little bit about your background and what led you into pattern making.
Yeah, well, first, your top looks so cute on you, and I love how you styled it and tucked
Thank
it in the
you.
front.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, the sleeves, I'm a big fan of puff sleeves. And so I was kind of thinking of different ways that I could do a puff sleeve without having, traditional shoulder seam. So it's just a little bit of a different take on a puffy sleeve.
You did well.
So thank you. My dog is agreeing.
Oh,
He's
yeah. Trust me, everyone knows we have three dogs and four cats around here. You will hear them in the background. So just
oh wow.
let him support you. No big deal.
Yeah, he's definitely a little cheerleader back there. So yeah, so I've got into pattern making. I mean, I've been sewing since I was 5, and my mom says that I was literally begging her to let me use the sewing machine. And so she finally, despite being a little nervous about letting me sew at such a little age, she let me do it, and I just have never stopped. And I sewed with commercial patterns for a long time until about six years ago. I started doing my own patterns, just because it's sometimes you just want to have your own thing.
Right, right.
And
Because I'm sure you
so
manipulated those commercial patterns as soon as you would open them up. I do the same thing, so
yeah.
I can see that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's really fun that I get to share it on a bigger scale. And I mean, I have a love affair with patterns. I collect them. I don't even know how many vintage patterns that I have, but probably well into the hundreds, I would say.
Yeah.
So I just love patterns. And so, I couldn't think of anything that is more fun to do than create patterns.
Oh
So
my gosh. Well, I really encourage everyone, and I will have links in the show notes to all of your platforms to sign up for your newsletter and print one of your patterns. They are impeccable. Your eye for detail, and there's so much information to help guide you through it in different ways once you download it to only select the size that you want. So you're printing that. Now, I selected everything because I wanted to experience it like a traditional pattern whenever you get
yeah,
multiple sizes. So I really wanted to
yeah.
like see that. But you give so many opportunities to be very specific to what you want and print that off with a regular home printer. You piece it together like a little puzzle. You give instructions for that. And
Yeah.
then you cut it out and make your garments. And your work is just beautiful. And I cannot believe it's only been 6 years. I mean, that
Yeah.
background
Oh,
from sewing and it's just impeccable.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the printing with layers. So it's like the way it all happens in the computer. So
Yes.
each size has its own layer. And so that way, when you go to print it, there's a way in Adobe, which is a free pattern or a free pattern. It's a free like software you can download, and
Mhm.
it allows you to uncheck your sizes or any sizes that you don't want to print.
Yeah.
And that way you can print just one size, or some people will do like two sizes. So yeah, it makes it a little bit of a cleaner experience that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I knew this pattern. I don't know if you followed the sew along on my YouTube.
I
Yeah,
did watch it. Yes.
yeah, because I knew that the pleats,
That was going to be a
yeah,
challenge.
yeah. And so I was like, well, I definitely wanted to do a sew along just so people could really have a good experience sewing it.
Yes.
And I think that for those specific details that could be a little tricky, I think I like doing a little sew along so people can visually see what you're doing to get it to come together.
Yes.
So yeah.
That was very thoughtful of you to do that and to add that bit of information. Because when I was, getting everything cut out and then started piecing together, I'm like, oh, this reminds me of like the Vogue patterns because they were always just a touch above the others with their
Yeah.
detail and those specific cute little features. But the final is just beautiful. And like I said, I made mine in cotton. I have a lot of cotton, very uh puffy sleeve, if you want to
Yeah.
call it that, pieces in my shop that I get from vendors that are huge
Yeah.
sellers.
Oh, I
So I
bet.
love that the cotton, fabric that I had and just wanted to make something. I've had it for 2 years now. Wanted to do something
Oh,
fun with it. And I'm like, okay, even though this says more like probably like a woven or a jersey or something, I really want to do it in this
yeah.
cotton because I loved this print.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was perfect. And I
Oh,
thought it worked well. Of course, here I'm always breaking rules and not being very specific to what
yes.
someone suggests, but it's totally fine, try something
Yeah.
that you love. And I'm very excited to do another one and maybe even make a dress out of that pattern and then try some other
Yeah.
patterns because you do sell your patterns on your website.
Yeah, yeah, I do. So I have other tops and dresses, coats, even like little jackets. And then I even do like pajamas and some like lingerie style stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have a little bit of everything.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
fun.
That
Basically anything that I want, I'll then, it becomes a pattern. So that's kind of how it's a little snippet of my closet.
Yeah, that's the best start. So I love that you started sewing at 5. I would have loved to have learned at that age. I always wanted to hijack my aunt's sewing machine. My
Oh,
mother didn't know how to sew. My aunt did, and of course, my mom
cool.
the same way. You're gonna sew your fingers, or you're gonna put the needle through your fingers. So they're always very worried.
Yes, it's the fingers. That was such a fear.
Yeah, but I think that earlier you start learning, the better. Even hand sewing,
Yeah.
learning how to do all of those stitches and stuff, that's really important. So do you
Yeah.
teach sewing and pattern making at all, or is this just something that you do and place that online?
Yeah, I do. Well, I've gone to Sew Expo in the Pacific Northwest. It's like
Yes.
the largest sewing conference. So I do teach there. I've done that for like 5 years now in a row, which is really
Oh,
fun.
Christine, I'll
So,
have to know when you're there because my daughters live in Seattle
oh
and I
no
would love to go
way.
over there.
Oh, what a good
That
excuse.
would
I
be
didn't know
perfect.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's every like the last week of February, kind of into that first week of March. It's
Oh,
an every year. So
nice.
I'm from Seattle. So I get to go back and see my parents and then do expo. And I grew up going to expo. Like I
Oh,
was I would tag along with my mom, and
yeah.
so it was a really cool full circle getting to
Yeah.
come back and actually teach there and participate.
Oh, I love that.
It's really, really cool. I've had some younger girls in my classes too, which I just love because I love to see the next generation learning, even though it's never too late to learn. I mean,
No.
it's never too late, but I love seeing the younger generation kind of popping in as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is offered, it's not offered enough. And I started
Yeah,
offering it in my studio, and I did have a lot of younger, they've all been girls so far. Guys, I am not
yeah.
judging because my husband is a 22-year Air Force veteran and he sews with me. He is
Oh, that's
wonderful.
so
Yes, he
cool.
does. So we have two machines and he'll sew and make things and he's always very proud of the stuff that he does. So it's for everyone. It really is.
Yeah, that's so cool that he sews. That is so fun
Yeah,
because
it
it
is.
really is just about creating something, like
It is.
bringing something to life
It's another
from,
tool. That's all it is. It's
yeah,
another tool. And fiber is
totally.
such a great medium. I was just
Yeah.
talking with another artist and entrepreneur, and she asked what my favorite medium was. And I said fiber. And she's like, I have never had someone answer that.
Mm.
And I said, there's so much you can do with layering that within your work. If you're doing a collage piece, clothing, and adding paint or whatever, it's still a tool and a medium. And so I just love how that translates into other pieces of art. And sewing is an art, and it absolutely needs to be addressed as a beautiful art form. And I think you're doing it well with your pattern making. I just think it's beautiful to see all that.
Thank you. Yes, I definitely think that it's coming back to like just kind of thinking about the younger generation and like your classes, having young people come in. I'm seeing that like sometimes the door for younger people to come in through is through upcycling, where they'll
Yes.
get something at like the thrift store and they want to refashion it kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
So
love
right.
that. I think it's such a great entry into the sewing world as well. Because
Yeah.
maybe it feels doable for people.
Yeah.
Because I think it can feel really intimidating to make a new garment from scratch when you've never sewn before. But
Hmm.
if you can like, oh, I want to cut the sleeves off of this, maybe it's a little bit more approachable. And so I love that the younger generation, that seems to be a little bit of a trend I see.
Yeah, that's a great point, and you're so right. They really embrace, merging textiles, merging
Yeah.
looks, finding ways to make it personalized. I think that the
Yes.
sewing world allows you to personalize and make it unique, and that's what somebody is always searching for. How can this represent me?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like the kind of the pushback from fast fashion where everyone
Yeah.
has the same trend, the
Yeah.
same colors, and you
Hmm.
kind of end up losing that individuality. And also
Hmm.
I feel like we've kind of lost the connection. It's possible to lose the connection to our clothes with fast fashion and everything that's available to buy. Whereas if you make your own clothes, like your fabric, you had your fabric for a couple of years, and there's just like something that really special about that.
Yes.
And that sewing allows us to reconnect with what we wear.
Yes, I love that. Do you have any favorite patterns, or have you ever investigated making your own fabric patterns and getting your own fabric with your designs?
Oh, I've thought about it, but I feel like it's such a different skill. Like I wish that I could really draw, paint, and maybe I could, but maybe I just haven't given myself the proper time to like be really
Sure.
bad at it. But yeah, I think doing a fabric collection someday would be really fun.
Yeah.
Using, maybe um doing I know I see people who draw on the iPad, like they do the paint on
Hmm.
the iPad. So yeah, I think that would be a really fun adventure someday.
Yeah, I use
Mhm.
Procreate on my iPad and I do pattern design and then have it printed with like Spoon Flower or Carriage House.
Oh,
And I've
really?
been with them since 2010 using their platform to sell fabric and wallpaper. And
Oh,
so just investigating it, trying a
oh,
few of your hand marks, getting a little swatch ordered just to see the quality of the types. They offer so many. Oh my gosh, so
oh,
many from canvas to silk to, I mean, cotton, you name it.
everything.
Yeah. So I didn't know if you had a favorite texture of fabric. Do you have a favorite fabric that you like to sew with?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's so hard to answer.
I know it is so hard to
Yeah.
answer. Sometimes, like
Hmm.
those jerseys, sometimes just really, if I don't have my serger going with it, they frustrate me. Other times, it's like I'll
Yeah.
just stick with cotton. It's fast, it's easy. I can get through it really quick. So I don't know. Maybe I'm too
Yeah.
opinionated one way or another.
Yeah, no, I feel the same. You know what? Sometimes I'll get a jersey that rolls, when
Yes.
the cut edges roll, and that just drives me crazy. I had one the other day. I was making a t-shirt, But the tip with that is if you ever get a knit that rolls, you can use spray starch. And you can spray the edges with spray starch and then iron it. And it will just give it enough of a crisp,
Stabilization.
yeah,
Yeah.
that it'll smooth out
Love
those
that
rolls.
hint.
So
I
yeah.
love that. Oh,
Yeah.
great hint.
And I
Oh,
think you could use it on other things, like if you're cutting bias, something on the bias
yes.
or
Yes.
whatever. So that's
Oh,
my little tip for knits. But yeah, I think if you said, okay, you could sew with anything this afternoon, what would it be? I think I would have to choose a Liberty of London cotton lawn. I think,
oh,
yeah, the ultimate.
yeah. Oh my gosh. That is fabulous.
Yeah, my local fabric store has a whole, top floor to ceiling, like row of Liberty of London in the cotton lawn, which is just that
What?
buttery soft
Yes.
and all the little prints.
I'm so envious. We're crying that our Joann's all closed. And I
Oh, I
just love hearing
know.
that. I mean, I literally am, I don't know, half an hour from Amish country, and they
Oh,
have some
cool.
large fabric stores, but I don't think that they carry that. So
Oh.
I love that you have access. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's special. I do tend to sew more on a budget. So I'm always looking for little like I'll pick up remnants
Oh yeah,
when
I'm a
a
big,
yeah,
it's the first place
yeah.
I go.
Totally. I love remnants. And it's like finding the kind of the needle in a haystack, to just go through the remnant pile and find a gem like that. So yeah, it's fun. Fun to look.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I love that. So do you do any other type of sewing? Do you like to do embroidery or any hand sewing or things to embellish some of the pieces that you do?
Yeah, I do. So when I was, I don't know, I must have been before I could drive. So I must have been like early teens. I studied French like heirloom sewing.
Oh my gosh.
With his like smocking and the hand
Yes.
embroidery and all the like little insertion laces and things.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I studied with Martha Pullen. She was like the biggest teacher during that time.
Oh,
And I went to Huntsville, Alabama to one of her, she had like a 3 day like retreat type of thing. So I
yeah.
went, and so I really do love embroidery. I actually am working on a new pattern now that I'm going to include 3 different beginner friendly embroidery patterns that you can embroider. It's like a little beginner sewing top, and you can
That's
embroider
sweet.
here because it's getting I see a lot of crochet, a lot of
Yeah.
embroidery
Oh,
out there now, and I like to use upcycled linens a lot. So I'll find like pieces of embroidery that, maybe they have a stain here and there, but I
yeah.
can cut around it. And
Mm-hmm.
so doing that kind of upcycling. But I figured, well, if you don't have access to an older piece, you could still embroider your own and have, the look. So that, yeah, that's my next project. I'm going to do a sew along as well, just to teach
Yeah.
just three basic embroidery stitches. So
Oh, I love that. I will definitely be looking for that. And that was going to be one of my questions,
yeah,
like what's coming down, the pike with new patterns or new designs or some new ideas. So I love that combination of doing
yeah,
something. You're right. Hand stitched or handmade on top of your apparel is huge. Very
huge.
big.
Yeah. And I think also it can feel a little intimidating. If you've
Yeah.
never embroidered before, you're like, I don't know how you do that. So I drew out 3 just really pretty, but beginner friendly embroidery patterns. And it's either a top and little shorts or a top and little capri pants or a dress version. And it can be
Oh,
like a loungewear, you can wear it out as well.
yeah.
But I designed it. I also have a slow fashion brand that I have have as well. And so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll use the pattern because I've developed, I've done all the fittings and
Yes.
done all the development of it. And then I'll make ready to wear a certain amount of units to sell in my slow fashion brand.
Yeah, I love
So
that. That's a great reminder. I want to make sure that people do know that they can maybe grab a piece that's pre-made by you. I love that.
oh yeah, yeah. So I designed the pattern because in my slow fashion brand, I use a lot of vintage linens. So,
Mm.
pieces that maybe they would end up in the landfill or
Oh
in,
yeah.
some forgotten corner of the thrift store or wherever. So I use those. And so this pattern I designed in mind with using smaller pieces of those embroidered linens. So yeah, you'll see the pattern and you can embroider your own, or I'll have, some available as well for sale.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh my gosh.
It's so fun. It's
It
so fun.
is. It is so fun. I absolutely love that you're making it your own. I would love to
Yeah.
go back to when you shared that you started sewing at 5. So what was the first thing that you got to make when you were 5 years old? Do you remember what you were
Oh,
making?
yeah. Oh, I don't remember the exact first thing, but I definitely know very quickly I went right into Cabbage Patch doll clothes. Do you remember?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's the cutest.
Oh
That's better
yeah.
than Barbie because Barbie
Oh
clothes
yeah.
are so tiny, those stitches and
Tiny.
seams. Cabbage Patch is perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I think I did do some Barbie stuff, but I was really more of a Cabbage Patch doll girl, and I think I was
Oh,
still little enough that
yeah.
yeah, and I had quite a few of the dolls, so they all had their full outfits. Yeah, I remember I had a book. My parents must have bought me a book with all these patterns inside with all
Oh,
the different styles, and
yeah.
that was really fun. I think those experiences I mean, I'm basically still doing the same thing now. I'm,
Yeah.
just making outfits for real people.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. I remember making my doll clothes out of I had Priscilla curtains in my room and I cut them up. And I didn't
oh
tell
my
my mother.
goodness.
They were like the
Oh,
ones that hung behind my bed. So she never knew for a long time that those curtains were cut at the bottom because they were the skirts for my dolls. Yeah, so
oh
that was the
wow.
only fabric I thought I could find. I
Oh,
know.
that is amazing. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
Again, hand sewing at first because I wasn't allowed to use the machine, but I was determined. But that is so funny. So it always seems like
Oh,
we started with our dolls.
that is such a fun story. Oh my goodness.
I know, so
And
bad.
yeah, but I think about sewing and like what it brought me throughout my, those early years. And it's
Hmm.
things like that where, your biggest thing was how can I make more clothes for my dolls? And there's something just so great of that's the focus.
Yeah.
And I think it's so great to have, even now, to have a creative outlet where you
Hmm.
can put your energy into, and it keeps you motivated and focused on something really positive.
Yeah. So how
Yeah.
long does it take you to make a pattern?
Oh, it really depends on the complexity and how many rounds of fittings that we need to go through to get it
Wow.
perfect.
Okay.
So it could be maybe 5 or 6 samples that I'll go through in different sizes,
Hmm.
just to make sure everything's fitting correctly. So normally it's like 2 to 3 months
Wow.
that I
Okay.
do.
All
Yeah.
right.
So it takes time, but I could probably do it faster. But
I
that's
don't know
just kind
any
of,
reason why.
yeah. I mean, sometimes I wish it went a little faster,
Sure.
but just because you want it to be done. But yeah, I think my whole first career was in fashion, working in a corporate environment that was
Mm.
very high stress, high pressure. And so that was really super challenging for me. I burnt out. And
Yeah.
so I think I've kind of consciously chosen a rhythm that allows me to work at my own pace and not max out my creativity. And as I'm developing a pattern, I'm also, doing other things like my
Sure.
YouTube channel and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good rhythm.
That's good. I love to hear that. And I love that you specifically said fittings. You didn't say increase everything by like 2 inches or whatever. You're very conscientious about how it fits per size. And I think that that is a reflection of your eye detail and how, like I said, how well the pattern comes across when you print it and the instructions and just it's wonderful. I just I
Oh,
can't say
thank
that
you.
enough. I really hope people experience what you've created because it is just phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Um,
fit is a big thing also, because we all have different shaped bodies.
yes. Yeah.
So it's like one, I have to use one set of proportions to
Mhm.
develop a pattern because you have to have something to start.
Right.
But then I do teach classes. I have a live program that I run called Fit Clinic, where I help people understand how to do the pattern adjustments. Like
That's
if a
awesome.
pattern is cut for a person with like a C cup, but you have a D cup,
Yeah.
there's a certain way to do it so that it fits around the top part, but also
Right.
fits around your bust
Mhm.
and all the things. Or some people have a shorter waist, or
Mhm.
larger hips than the waist, like a different proportion between waist and hips. and
Mhm.
and so all those little things are really easy adjustments that you can make to get things to fit your body.
Yeah.
So
But just knowing that that's available, I love that you offer that.
yeah, yeah, and I
Mhm.
do it. We do it live on Zoom, and so because there's
Perfect.
something about being alone in our own house and with your
I
mirror, but you're like, what do I do? It's pulling here and
Yeah.
pulling here. I
Yeah.
don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have I do it in a group setting. So there's usually, a handful of us on
Mhm.
Zoom. And so you get to learn from other people as well.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that's wonderful, that community, that sense of I'm not in this alone, I'm not the only one having
yeah,
this issue. I think that
yeah,
that's really important for people to remember. You're not in your creative space alone. Please know that
yeah.
there are people out here like us that want to encourage you to
Wow,
explore ways to find what you need, and we're here with those answers. And so I think that that's,
totally.
yeah, very
Yeah,
important to remember.
yeah, exactly.
So
So yeah.
is there a project that you haven't tackled yet that you would like to create a pattern for? Is there something you haven't
Oh,
done something
I'm
for
telling
yet?
you, I have this little itch that just it won't go away. So I know it's one of those things that will probably eventually come to life, of doing some children's patterns.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's so
Oh.
random, but I made a couple little pieces for a friend who's having twins, and it just
Oh.
ignited this spark because I couldn't find what I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
sew for her.
Of course not.
Oh, I know, and it's just spent. I really spent a long time just going through all the available patterns, and it's like I really want to make some children's patterns,
Oh.
but I need to stay focused right now. I have, with Sewing in the City, with my slow fashion brand that's only a year, just a little over a year old. So I really need to give it more time to
Yeah.
grow and
Yes.
get
Yes.
get going. So I can't do it yet, but like any good creative, we've got a list of
Oh yeah.
of ideas.
I love that. I sew all the
So,
time for my grandchildren, so I love that that's on the
oh,
horizon or in the back of your mind because I think that that would be
oh,
terrific. I tend to make a lot of things that match their mother.
oh, I love
Because my kids
that.
grew up, I have three daughters, and I would make our clothes and their clothes, and they would match. And they were such 90s babies, and they just cringe now when they look back at those pictures, but I don't
Oh,
care. I
oh,
just
I
think
think
they're
it's
so
great.
fun. Their dolls match them. And just the other day, they sent me a meme and it was like where these girls were photographed with dolls that match their clothes. And I sent them back a picture of them. I'm like, yeah, I know. I did
Oh,
the
I
same
love
thing.
it.
You forgot.
That's
I know.
amazing.
So
Oh, I
funny.
I love 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 that. There's just something that you can't replicate that kind of like love and detail that goes into
No.
that whole process of choosing the fabric and patterns and putting it all together and having the
Yeah.
photograph. It's really, really special.
And when they were little, they would go to the fabric store with me and then would like pick your dress out, pick the fabric out
Yeah.
or help me pick a pattern. And oh yeah. And then by the time the second oldest got into high school, she was self-designing her homecoming dresses. So she would draw them, then I would have to make up the pattern to match her drawing to make her dress. And so they were very creative alongside with me. And I just love that. And it's such
Mm,
great memories. So I love what you're doing because that foundation to offer this tool for making something together or making a gift like you were doing. It's just tremendous. And I think that it goes far beyond just doing something for ourselves. It's
yeah,
putting so much goodness out in the world.
totally. Yeah. And sometimes I think, it's like it's not necessarily about making another dress or, something, because I think probably everyone in our circles have enough clothes. Like if, it's not like we
Oh yeah.
really need anything. But there's so much more that goes into the sewing. It's very creative.
Mhm.
When I sew, when I get in kind of the flow state, like hours can or a good hour can go
Oh,
by.
I have to tell Alexa to set alarms. I
Yeah,
totally will forget where I'm at and what I'm
I
doing, and
know.
the time just flies. Yeah, you totally get
Flies.
lost.
And it's
Can't
great.
agree more. I know.
Yeah. Like if I have something that, I like a decision I need to make or something that's just kind of
Oh,
not,
yes.
yeah, like a challenge or just something I'm trying to kind of figure out. I can sew and I can just the answers just kind of come because you're
You are
relaxed
right.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
totally agree. I love
So
that.
I know it's so good. It's a really good, I mean, any hobby. I feel like whatever it is that you do to express your creativity
Hmm.
is really, it's something I think a lot of people are getting back to now too,
Hmm.
after the last couple of years. So I think it's great.
Yeah, making time to, find those what they were calling grandma crafts are coming back so big.
Yeah,
But it's true. I see it in my shop and
totally.
I see it online, and I am here to promote every bit of it as much as I can because I think it's wonderful.
Yes, it really is. Yeah,
Oh.
I love
So,
it.
you're running your businesses. Are you doing that alone? Do you have help?
Yeah, so I have part-time help. So
Oh, good.
and I
Okay.
have someone who, for example, when I like the instruction booklet that you
Yeah.
had for like all those drawings and things, those someone does those for
Oh, I
me.
love
So
that.
yeah, so that and then I have someone who helps me with social media and just kind of organizing things,
Terrific.
emails and such. So yeah, but yeah, for the most part, I'm doing a lot of all the filming. I do all the editing of my
Oh my gosh.
videos.
Wow.
Yeah,
On
yeah,
top
because
of
I
making your
like it.
patterns and sewing and all of
I
that.
know. It
Wow.
it's funny, there's so many little things that go into the day to
Oh,
day that,
yes.
even when I said, oh, it takes about 2 to 3 months to do a pattern, it's like, wow, that takes so long. But then you figure all the little things that are happening along with
Hmm.
that, that
Hmm.
yeah, but luckily I really love it. So it's fun.
That's great. Oh my goodness. I just think that it's a wonderful, unique process. And I
Yeah.
love that you're doing it in such a public way and sharing, especially these ups and downs on this episode. And then we're going to be able to share all your social media and places where everyone can find you. So can you share a little bit like where everyone can find what you're doing and if you have different social medias for your slow fashion brand and
Oh,
yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. So I think the main place to go is my Instagram, and it's sewing and the city. And from there you'll find all the links to the Manhattan pattern, which
Yeah.
is my free pattern. And you'll find links to my shop and all the things. And then my slow fashion brand is also Instagram, and it's at lindy.shop. And Lindy it's a play. It's actually the nickname that we used to call my grandfather because of
Oh.
our last name is Lindebak, which can get a little tricky to say. And so people would call him Lindy. And I always knew him as Grandma and Grandpa Lindy.
Oh,
And so when it came time to look for the name, I didn't want it to just be like my name, that just seemed too straightforward. So I put two of the nickname together, and Lindy it is.
that's wonderful. I love that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, all of those links will
Fun.
be in our show notes. And I love the pictures that you sent to me. So I'm going to have those on a little slideshow for the YouTube channel because I always like to,
Oh, fun.
have some visuals so people can see about what we're talking about, to see you. And I, again, had a blast making your pattern and making my blouse. And so I highly encourage that everyone signs up for your newsletter so you can keep in touch. Is that a monthly
Cool.
piece or a quarterly?
Yeah, I try to do it weekly. Weekly
Oh,
is really what
wow,
I aim
weekly.
for.
Okay.
But like I've been it's been a little crazy the last couple weeks. So but yeah, so
Okay.
weekly with not a lot of
Weekly
consistency,
with some
kind of
grace. We're good.
weekly
We're
with
good with that.
I
Yeah.
love that. Weekly with some grace. Yeah.
We're all about that around here, trust me.
Yes, I
Oh
love it.
gosh.
I love it. And usually like I'll have links to like my YouTube on there and then I'll do I love scouring the internet for different fabric finds. So I usually include a couple
Oh.
whether it's like a really good bargain that I find or something really pretty and I
Oh,
give like
yeah.
different pattern suggestions that would work with it. And then I highlight someone who's made something with one of my patterns
That's
and then any like updates. So that's kind of what I do in
yeah.
my newsletter.
That's all great information though, because again, we're out here looking for fabric now in
I
any place that we can
know.
find. And so sharing those resources, that's tremendous. So I don't want to
Yeah.
leave without thinking, is there anything that you'd want to talk about that I've missed or that you're doing or any shows coming up or any education opportunities that is coming that would be coming up that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that's upcoming is I'm reopening the Fit Clinic program again.
Okay.
So and that's live, so it's kind of a fun program. I know I've had several women come through who've kind of given up sewing for themselves at
Aw.
some point, and then they got into quilting or like sewing for their grandkids, kind
Yeah.
of a thing. And so just, you know, passing on that message that you can get a good fit in your clothes. And if you've tried and it hasn't worked, you know, I love helping people get a good fit.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're ready to maybe experiment with sewing your own clothes, it's a good place. So I'm excited to open that again. It's really fun. I love getting on Zoom with people
Yeah.
and commiserating around sewing and seeing at the start like you know something totally not fitting and then week after week we refine it and then they come and it's like a perfect fitting garment, which is really fun.
Oh,
So
that's terrific. I love that you get so much out of it, and I know they are. So
yeah,
it
it
makes
really
you make it
mm.
feel so approachable, and that they can ask any question, and no question is too silly. So I love your attitude towards it and your kindness that you're displaying.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I it's such a compliment when people say that it's I make it approachable because it that's one of the things that's so important to me because you know some like I learned to sew so long ago that I don't remember what it was like to learn. And so
That's a good
sometimes
point.
yeah, I'm like I sometimes it's hard for me to like get in the mind of someone who's never sewn before. And so I never want it to feel like, oh, she's sewn forever. So she, you know, it's easy for you kind of a
Mm,
thing, but I don't know. And so I always just try to want to be like encouraging and help make it look easy as well. Cause it's, you know, it's not it doesn't have to be such a struggle. It takes a lot of practice, you know, to
yeah.
learn to sew. But so yeah, I am like the biggest proponent, like learn to sew. It's great.
Oh, well, thank you for creating that space virtually, offering the patterns, offering the newsletter, and offering your talent to everyone. I really am so happy that you reached out to be on the program because I love discovering you and all of your work, and I will be a big fan forever.
Thank you, Tracy. Likewise.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you, Christine.
yes. Thanks for having me.
Bye bye.
Bye.